Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. I found a scenario in my own time. It's an SCP scenario, which of course are always quite fun. 2521, there it is. Why did Pokemon Go even show up in the search results? Nobody knows. By Pikminator. SCP-2521 is a humanoid entity that will kill anyone who thinks, talks, or knows about it. So it's like the Chandrian in The Name of the Wind. Got it. In this scenario, a hacker hacks the national television in the United States and broadcasts 2521's name, causing 2521 to go on a bloody rampage. Can he take over the world? That just seems straight up irresponsible. And how did the hacker do that without getting killed by 2521? Surely he premeditated this, which means he was thinking about 2521, which means he should be dead. Was it an accident? I don't know how that's possible. We'll find out. Bacteria type, ATP boost, Darwinist, Oxyribonucleophile, Semophile, and Symptostasis on normal difficulty 2521. I'm not very familiar with 2521. It's actually a number that is completely unknownced to me. Or at least, I'm not recalling correctly. I'm drawing a blank somewhere. Starts to kill people who saw his name in America. Can 2521 take over the world before the mobile task force takes him down? The good news is nobody watches TV anymore. Nobody watches the news on cable anymore, right? So the only people who are going to die are basically old people. Right? Probably? I don't know. Are you ready to kill the scum who saw you in America? My point is, if you spread it on the internet, that would be effective. But news media, cable news companies, they've been dying for a long time. That's why they feel so threatened by things like YouTube's. What am I saying right now? I'm trying to take a stab at media, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. And as I'm occurring to me, I really stand nothing to gain from this conversation. So let's move on with the scenario. We can go for some air and water. We can go for blood gift. The SCP uses blood of its victims to spread the fear. That's just masochistic. There we go. No, not masochistic. Sadistic. There we go. Good grief, I started to go for narcissistic, then masochistic, finally settled on sadistic, and that is, of course, the correct word. Sightings. Increase of sightings on the internet. Oh, there we go. Increases infectivity and spread in populated and dense countries by land. That's the beautiful thing about the internet, though. It's not just by land. It's the World Wide Web. So how does that make sense? We don't know. TV interception. The hacker strikes again. How is the hacker still alive? And broadcast 2521's appearance. Has more reason to kill now than ever before. We'll pick that up too. Fear. Uses fear to spread its hatred among its victims. Increases infectivity once again by land. Symptoms. The urge to kill. 2521 gains the urge to kill anyone who dares speaks his name. Increases lethality. Do I want lethality at this stage of the game? Feels a little bit overly aggressive. Blood rage. Affects all countries, hot or cold. That's just your bacterial resilience that you would get as playing the bacteria in general. And since we started off in the United States, which is not especially hot or cold, I think picking up a level of both actually makes a certain level of sense. Blood Rage 2, Rampage affects all countries, hot or cold, even more than before. Beautiful. Very, very creative. Well done. Let's go for the fear. So our infectivity is pretty good. We did start off with only 8 million people infected in the USA, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with cable news. Nobody watches that stuff anymore. We get all our news on the interwebs. At least I do. And I'm going to take my little anecdote and project it upon the entire world and assume that I am correct because I'm arrogant in that way. Let's go for Air 1. Gives the SCP the ability to travel on dust particles. It's a humanoid form. How exactly does that work? I don't know. And it makes me wonder if maybe that's a little bit forced and perhaps should not be in this scenario. You don't have to have air transmission, believe it or not. Yes, it's certainly good. It's certainly good for the sake of balance purposes, but theme is just as important, if not arguably more important than balance. I am going to pick up the urge to kill, and I do need to get some severity. That's kind of my big problem right now, because I'm not getting much DNA as we spread across the world, and we actually started getting international pretty early. We're going to go for Hidden Creature. SCP-2521 learns to hide in forests and more areas where he will not be detected and can easily get his next victim. Increases effectiveness in the urban countries. All right, thank you for the tiny bit of severity so I can get a little bit more DNA. Very much appreciated. I'm a little concerned that I went too late on that, and I'm going to run out of gas. Teleportation mutated. All right, more lethality whether I like it or not. Insanity. Causes people to go crazy. They wonder if they will be his next victim. If you have to ask that question, then the answer is already yes because you thought about it. You thought about 2521, which means you're supposed to die. Right? That is what I have been told. Transmissions. We need to go for something. Water, anything at all. SCP-2521 breaches containment. Oh, it's been contained this whole time. Oops. Has breached containment at site redacted. This is because a hacker hacked the USA's television and caused him to go mad, and apparently, via just sheer insanity and force of will, he was able to break out from an SCP containment site. Because that is how it works. I'm going to go for a level of cold resistance just because the cold areas do tend to be the hardest ones to get through, not necessarily the hot ones. But that's kind of it. We don't really have much, and we're not spreading very rapidly. I'm not talking about just getting to nearby new countries. I'm talking like even inside of the countries that we've already infected. My infectivity rate is rather lackluster, but I'm hoping by getting into places like China and India, we have enough of a population that we can start turning things around. Do we want to go for Blood Gift? Not especially. I'd rather go for things like Water 2 to get into the islands a little bit more effectively, and we'll pick that up now. That looks pretty good. They have begun work on the cure progress, so apparently the SCP containment sites are now working to recontain me. There's the extra air transmission, and we could go for the extreme bioaerosol, and I will. That's as much infectivity as I feel like I'm going to need at any given point, though. Now we need to focus on getting more symptoms. We did get into Greenland shockingly early, and I didn't even see... Yep, we did get a boat in there. I just didn't see it. Okay, wonderful. So let's go for the symptoms. We need 2521 Rage. Goes on killing rampages, increasing lethality in the dense populations, and hunters. Uses his hiding abilities to stay away from the MTF, increasing severity by a small little dosage. I guess I'll pick that up, but what are we missing in terms of islands? Madagascar and Iceland. Those are the only two remaining countries that I am concerned about. I will go for a level of... How are we doing? We could really use some drug resistance and probably heat resistance, but I can't really afford that right now. Let's go for Blood Rage 2 instead to get a little bit of extra resistance. And boom, we got into Madagascar and Iceland both. That's all that I was concerned about. Now we can really start ramping things up. The sensation. That sensation of 2521 claiming its next victim causes suicidal thoughts in the host. So what? Every time somebody dies, I just have a feeling in the force, as if somebody somewhere cried out in terror and was suddenly silenced. Wunderbar. Let's pick that up. Riots. 2521 causes people to riot in the streets. People are mad that the MTF will not do anything to stop him. People know about the MTF because at that point it feels like it's kind of failed in its main mission. But, alright, sure, yeah. For some reason, people across the world just know about it, and they just started rioting without my help. They're already all peeved. So now we have uncontrollable thoughts. Causes its victims to feel sorrow. They feel more urge to commit suicide. That could be good, but I think I'm going to go for some more drug resistance because we're having a really hard time in places like Canada right now. But now we're starting to pick up some gas. Okay, things are looking pretty good there. I think we're doing just fine. Let's go for the uncontrollable thoughts, and that leads to worldwide TV interception. The hacker strikes again. Apparently, this hacker has a freaking death wish on the planet. I mean, geez, dude. You're still at it, and somehow you're still alive. What is your secret, sir? What's your secret sauce? Tell me so that I also may survive. All right, the hacker strikes again. Every TV in the world has SCP-2521 broadcast. Pretty good infectivity as well as some more lethality. I mean, really, who can complain? Let's just go for that. I'm guessing that every single country that was not infected would probably have gotten something, but apparently I'm wrong because Morocco is still not infected. So never mind. Never mind. That would have made sense. Automatic spore bursts across the planet, but that is not even remotely what happened. We need to go for some genetic hardening and at least a couple levels of genetic reshuffles. There's really not much else for me to take. I just want to slow down that cure and make sure that we can win. I'm also going to go for a level of heat resistance because we're not spreading very fast in Africa. I think that we're going to be fine. I just want to go for as much score and ramp things up as quick as I can, especially since Morocco still has not hit that critical mass. Now we can go for a level genetic reshuffle 3 and some more genetic hardening, just again to slow things down as much as we can, but most of the developed world is dead, so the cure progress is going to slow down rather dramatically. Anything else that we can get that would speed things along? I don't think so. Let's go for Blood Gift 1. Blood Gift 2, infected bodily fluids able to pass through mucous membranes, increases infectivity, especially in the poor regions, and mutation chance. Might have been good for me in Africa, but honestly, I think we're fine. We don't need infectivity at this stage of the game. The cure is still progressing a bit faster than I think I would have expected, all things considered. But there's literally nothing else I can do at this point except sit back and wait. Not a ton of lethality, considering 2521 is supposed to kill literally everybody who is thinking about him, or her, or it, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't freaking know. And everyone on the planet is thinking about it. I guess it can only kill one at a time. So that explains the slow lethality. You know, it's got to commute all over the planet. That takes a while. There are literally billions of people to kill. I mean, it's like Santa Claus having to reach everybody in one night. Like, can you really expect that of SCP-2521? Probably an unrealistic expectation. That said, this is running a little bit slow, so I'm going to be speeding things along here. And there we go. I just saved you a precious minute of your life. You're very, very welcome. 709 days, very slow, but that's again because there's not a lot of lethality in this supposedly very lethal scenario. 70% cure progress, not great, but again, that's mostly because we were very slow. Glad that I picked up the genetic hardening when I did. 31,015 points, only 1 star, because it took so darn long for a bacteria type. All in all, I think it's a pretty good scenario. I think that it could use a bit of balancing, just kind of speed things along a little bit more. It's never fun to be at a stage where you're just sort of sitting back and waiting for a couple of minutes, but all in all, the concept behind it is fine. I do think that the hacker premise is maybe a tad bit weak. It kind of relies on that, the entire scenario. I guess it's one thing if something leaks out of an SCP scenario. Like, let's suppose some doctor made the mistake of taking something back to his home and his wife read a report about SCP-2521 and started thinking about it, and that's how the epidemic got out. Or something like that. Or maybe a video passes around like The Ring. I don't know. But a hacker all the way along still doing that? A little bit of a weak premise there. But again, I don't really know much about 2521. Maybe there actually is some sort of a backstory and lore behind some of that, and the hacker originally did this, and the author is being true to the lore. I have absolutely no idea. All in all, I think it's pretty good. I just think it could use a bit of tweaking and rebalancing to make it a bit faster and a bit more entertaining. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I, of course, will see you guys next time.